Hey everybody, and welcome back to Hex Token channel, Superman Crypto and Pulsechain X. We're streaming to over 10,500 subs. Big shout out to everybody who's supporting the channels, and we're gonna have a fun time today. I know it's Sunday still in the US. It's Monday here down under in good old Australia, New Zealand, Pacific Islands. So yeah, we're from the future, and we're gonna be talking about some cool stuff. We're gonna have a quick look at the crypto markets. We're gonna have a quick look at the memes. We're going to have a quick look at Pulsechain at the moment. Not a deep dive today, just a short, quick update. And then we're going to get into our main event, which is going to be the Hydra Whitepaper. It is out. It's bullish for TitanX and DragonX. It's going to be pretty awesome. We're also going to look at, of course, Titan Legends and Legend X launching. It's launching day pretty much ahead of us, and we're going to check out the latest updates on that. And then, of course, we're going to talk about Zen. It is pumping because X1 chain looks like it's getting closer and closer and closer with some of the updates there. So we're gonna have a lot of fun. So let's get into it. Let's see who is in the chat here at the moment. We've got Wookie in house. Wookie is never on time, but always ahead of the game. That's a pretty good saying there. Wookie actually understand that for once. Amazing. I wish I had some clap noises. We should give you some noises for that impact. Do we have anything in the brand? So look here. What do they got on here? No, nothing really. It's the soundtracks. We got Priority 1 in the house. One of the most informed Titan Knights out there. And of course, Legend launch day today. Here we go. LGNDX, Legend X token. Yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting. And some cool technology there too, isn't it? The use of NFTs. I think it's pretty innovative. Buying a Legend live on stream is the thing to do right now. No, I generally don't do anything like that. So probably not today, but we'll talk about it some other time. We're going to be talking about it today. That's the other time we're going to talk about it. We're going to be, Brennan says, howdy, Superman and family. Hey, Brennan, I hope you're doing well. Bring on the Hydra, says Brennan. Yeah, we're going to be talking through the white paper today. And, of course, if you missed it about 7 hours ago or so, maybe 8 hours ago, Jake Sharp was on with Eric, and that was pretty cool. And I think they even had crypto graphics and join them later in the show. So if you haven't check that out as well. Hexavator in house. Hey, gang. Hey, Hexavator. Hope you're doing well there in the good old US of A. And Wookie says, what about the Knights? I don't know. You have to ask Brennan about the Knights because I think they were winning, right? And what happened to the Warriors? That's what you got to ask. What's the Warriors? What happened to the All Blacks? I mean, come on. Can't win anything these days. All right. So huge week in all of TitanX's Priority 1. Absolutely. I can't, the week ahead for TitanX Ecosystem is humongous. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. All right. So let's get into it. We're going to look at the current markets, and fortunately they're green today, thank goodness. After yesterday's performance and last week, we're at 55,000 for Bitcoin, up 1%. Bitcoin dominance 54.5%. So that's not too bad. It was over 55% at some stage last week, but down 54.5%. Ethereum there at $2,300, making a little bit of a bounce, up 0.8%. What else is looking pretty? BNB up 1.85% at $505. We got Solana at 1.8% at $130. XRP up 0.6%, 53 cents. ADA's up about 0.9%. So everything's up, around about 1% on a lot of these ones. ADA up 4.2%, 34 cents. What else is looking okay? So that's kind of the leaders. What else? Let's see here. That's it. Let's get into it. So that's pretty much the update. We've got green markets, which is great for the beginning of the week. Fingers crossed we have a bullish week in the markets. We'll get a ramp up. Now, we are expecting September to be volatile. It hasn't disappointed so far. And, of course, we expect, August as well. But October is supposed to be Uptober. So far, so good. But it's good to see green candles today. Maybe that's a positive sign for the week ahead. We got the meme coins at the moment. Let's have a look at the top ones. We got Dogecoin sitting at 14 billion, so it's back up a little bit there, at 1% for the week. Pretty much most of that today in the last 24 hours. We've still got SHIB and Pepe down slightly, even though they're up today. Pepe's up almost 5% today. Dog with Hat is up 13% for the week, so that's a pretty good move for Dog with Hat, up 6.7%. And Floki as well is up 6% for the week, 5% today. Most of that in today's candle. Let's scroll through some of these. The big loser there, Dogs on Ton Chain, Telegram. That is down 12%, 3% at the moment. Still sitting at $500 million in market caps. It's still pretty good, right? But it's very much a corporate type of allocation, right? With all the holders there. Now, what else we got? Boom is up 9% for the week, 7.6 10.6% today. So today's a real rebound in the old meme coins after they got shaved off a lot of value. And of course, a Mew there also, cats in the dogs world up 9.5% as well, a third of that today. My coins down 5%, and getting to my favorite one, dogs on Rune, #1 meme coin on Bitcoin. Will it be the #1 meme coin in the world for this bull market? You watch it. I mean, if Bitcoin goes to 100K, 150, 180K, or whatever it goes to, that could be absolutely huge. I think Saylor was calling, was he calling $350,000 Bitcoin in 2024? I mean, that's a huge ramp up towards the end of the year. I'm expecting a bullish rush from October to December, and I'm cautiously calling 100,000. But man, is that something for next year? We shall see. Dogs there is up 3% today, 3.5%, pretty much flat for the week, and sitting at just over $250 million on the market cap. So those are top memes at the moment. And you know, memes are easy because people can easily jump into them. A lot of them are traded on centralized exchanges, except of course we want to get dog there on the tier ones. Total market 1.94 trillion, up 1.5% today. Total volume 43 billion, down 3% at the moment. So that's pretty much where we are on the old crypto. That's going to move us to Pulsechain, of course. Before we do that, though, let's see who else has jumped in here. I'm going to quickly do a Pulsechain update, and then we get into our main topic, which is Hydra Whitepaper. We got Brennan in the house there, made it to the finals. Woohoo! There's the Knights. Yeah, this is rugby league we're talking about in Australia. Priority 1 says TitanX minting is the entry to the system. Absolutely. So if you know nothing about the TitanX ecosystem on Ethereum, then just get some TitanX, because it's going to go hyperdeflationary very soon. So that's just the basic way of getting into it. And you know, you can thank us later, as it were. Make sure you do your financial due diligence, all that sort of stuff. TitanX minting is the entry to the system, value hoarded and smelted inside the DragonX with compounding in the Hydra. That's right. That is pretty much the ultimate there. You know, with DragonX and Hydra, we're going to talk about that. I think Priority 1's doing all the show in the chat with additional projects trialed elsewhere, but all ultimately end up built on DragonX. That's right. There's going to be about half a dozen on DragonX. It's going to be pretty exciting. All right, let's get into Pulsechain. We got day 485 at the moment for the price of Pulse. Quadruple 0321 is up 0.25%. We got Pulsex at the moment, quadruple 0161 down 0.7%. So even with crypto up slightly, Pulsechain's still not quite managing to turn around, but it's accumulation zone. So that's pretty much it. You know, the buy and burn is continuing to rise though. 971.6 billion. We're getting close to $1 trillion, folks. $1 trillion Pulsex bought up and burned. And that's currently at 4.81% at the moment of the total public supply. So it's getting there, hitting some 2 big milestones ahead of it. And Hex Token is down 0.6% at $1.46. The ratio at 44,628. So it's right at the bottom of that sideways channel. So it's still holding there at the moment. Yesterday it was just above it as well. It was just on it, I should say. Total incentives, 41.4 million incentive tokens. And of course, that's from the Pulsex V1 farms. And of course, last week, I think it was, we got the stable swaps, right, which is really cool. People can, you know, large whales in particular, take big money over stable coins and earn a little return on that. Hex at the moment, 37 hundredths of a penny, pretty much flat. And EHEX at 11 hundredths of a penny, and the combined price EHEX and PX just under 48 hundredths of a penny, so just under half a cent at the moment. So what a deal at the moment. A lot of people have been talking pretty positive about picking up Hex, but the price still hasn't managed to move higher there. So maybe all those people bullish on Hex at the moment, just holding the price up where it is. There we go. And but anyway, it's looking pretty juicy. Pick up $1 million, right, for what, $3,700? That would have been a dream a long time ago. So you know, a market does find its bottom. There we go. And of course, we've got the court case up in October. So that is pretty much the markets there. We're going to quickly look at the gas prices. Gas prices are pretty a bit higher than normal, 332,000 beats, 4/10 of a penny for a Pulsex swap. The VAL is at the moment 48,643 and 1.56 trillion off the market with the stake validators. And the bridge, how healthy is that? Kind of pretty similar to what we've seen recently. I think it's down a couple 100,000, sitting at 88.3 million. I think it was like 88.6 2 days ago, if I remember rightly. So that was day 485. We're going to be starting day 486 as Pulsechain heads towards 500 days. Moving to the overall markets for Pulsechain, 5.3 million in a weekly volume. Daily volume. And of course, that is coming off a weekend. And yeah, 5.43 million. Pretty low, right? And of course, we've got 187,000 transactions. So really, we are skimming along the bottom. The best performers at the moment, Hex.com Diamond. Big shout out to the developer. That really, really good community member of Pulsechain, and of course in our Discord. That is up 47% for some reason on low liquidity, but still a really nice move there today on the old Hex.com Diamond there. I just wonder whether I actually got some of those tokens, and I have to check. But anyway, we got Pulsepot also up from Jacob, the number one GameFi dev in the world. That is up at 97 cents, up at 34%. So we have got some really nice movers. So a big shout out for Pulsepot there. We got one swap as well, up 25%. So there have been some movers today, despite Richard Hartcoin's not moving up. And then, of course, the big one here, the Grays, has actually been crushing it up another 15% here at the moment. So looking pretty good on that one. And then we have quite a few others that have slight increases there as well. Let's quickly go into the Grays. Obviously, this has got quite a bit of influence and supporters behind us as well. But look at that chart on Pulsechain. So, there is some winning charts there. And of course, we've covered this chart since the beginning. A DAO reflection with a couple other tokens. It's a really good project, isn't it? Anyway, it's getting a bit hot on the RSI, though, up at 90. So caution. The RSI is pretty hot at 90 there on the daily. So there we go. That is on that. Let's have a quick look at the weekly on it. Weekly RSI, just reached over bought 273. So just be a bit cautious about picking that up. Looks like a bit of a double top as well if you look at the weekly. Let's go full screen. That is the weekly there, and a bit of a double top there, but it needs probably a little bit of breather. It has been up pretty elevated, so maybe it will continue a little bit higher. But just be cautious of that after it's had a huge run, right? How big's the run over the last couple of weeks? Well, over the last month, it's pretty much done 300%. So 4x, pretty good on a Pulsechain under the moment. So that's pretty much it for Pulsechain update. I said it was going to be pretty brief, or Rufus, as we say. Totally Rufus. Totally Rufus. I don't know. What movie is that off? I don't know. All right, so let's jump over. We're going to bring up the other spreadsheet now because we're going to go into TitanX and Hydra, which has got to be this week. Like I say, this week's going to be absolutely epic. And of course, it's the first week of many epic weeks ahead of us, I believe. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see who else has jumped in the chat. What did we get up to here? Did I read that comment? I'm not sure if I did. I think the market volume for TitanX Ecosystem has surpassed Pulsechain. It has. They have had some bots operating too, though, Brennan. But you're quite right. I think 3 days in a row now that the TitanX volume has been higher than the Pulsechain altogether. So pretty huge. What else here? Priority 1 says Shadow Protocol is the only mystery left, as X28 has explained. Yeah, Jacob was talking about that. Jake Sharp was talking about that in the live stream about 8 hours ago. Ouroboros testnet starting also. Yeah, exciting, right? Priority 1. So bullish, man. Insane stuff going on here in TitanX Ecosystem. Hydra could advantage of the momentum or take advantage of the momentum and release. Yet Jake's is probably watching supply dates, says Priority 1. Yeah, well, Eric was talking about it being pretty imminent, right? So we might have it much sooner than people expect. Kind of expecting it this week, but we're going to get into the charts and let's go. All right, so this is the TitanX Ecosystem, and at the moment you can see the best performer in the last 24 hours is DragonX, up 9.2%. Baby DragonX up 8.7% for the 24 hours. Inferno up a 7.9%. Hyper there is up 4.8%. TitanX is up 4.1%. JakeX, the meme coin, 1.8%. Blaze is up 1.2%. And Helios there is down. Blaze is down 1.2%. And Helios there is down 4.7%. So that's kind of the wrap up on the 24 hours at the moment. But if we look at the last hour movement, then Hyper is the big movement there. It's up 1.7%. Helios up 0.8%, and JakeX up 0.3%. So a bit of movement there. Now looking at market caps, total market cap there, TitanX at the moment 53.8 million, DragonX 49 million. Now they have flipped each other back and forth, but I suggest to you that probably DragonX is going to crush it soon with the Hydra launch. And of course Hyper there at 4.1 million. I'm expecting a bit of a convergence with the Hyper, with the ratio there. So we'll be looking forward to see that. The other big one is Inferno, of course. There is at 2.6 million. We're expecting some big things as we count down towards cycle 8, the last cycle of this where the inflation will be minted out, and then the buy and burn will really start ramping up, as well as other protocols, Flux being one of the ones mentioned so far. So yeah, I think there's another one called Flare, I believe, if I remember rightly. I have to double check that, but that's kind of in my mind. So there's some projects out there we do not know. They're not on the list yet of the TitanX hub, but they're coming. So it's going to be pretty bullish there. And of course, they're going to benefit from, Ouroboros with lending and things like that. There's lots of different things going to be benefiting from that. So there, 2 million on Baby DragonX. Titan Blaze sitting at 1.2 million. JKX back under 1 million. I think it's at 904K. And Helios gets 700,000. So yeah, some pretty big moves. Like I say, I think Hyper, potentially Inferno will re-rate quite strongly moving forward, and probably Blaze at some stage a bit later. That's kind of where we are on the chart. So let's go to TitanX and have a quick look at what we're kind of expecting. I'm going to be making some changes to this because we've got a bit more information than we had before. But if you guys know, let me go to the daily. This is our chart here, timeline. We're going to change a little bit on this as well. But everything's been going pretty well. So we've had Inferno. If you guys don't know, Inferno closed, was it yesterday, early in the morning. And Inferno did, you guys want to know, it was insane, but Inferno did amazing. Let's go to Inferno, just quickly have a look at that before we get into Hydra, because it's worth celebrating, right? Worth celebrating that the amount that went in there. So far, the total amount of Inferno minted is 4.7 trillion. The amount burned so far is 2 trillion. So that leaves 2.7 trillion in liquid. And of course, then we got deposited 5.8 trillion TitanX. Can you believe it? 5.8, amazing result. And, that is an increase from cycle. So cycle 4, we had 330 billion. Cycle 5, we had 700 billion. Cycle 6, we had 1.1 trillion. And then cycle 7, which I estimated at 1.5 trillion, came in at 1.5 trillion. How about that? That is awesome stuff. So absolutely mega supply sink there into the Inferno. And of course, really consider Inferno a blue chip in the TitanX ecosystem. And what we mean by that, just a higher probability of bigger, safer returns relative to other projects. And pretty exciting there on that result. So what we're going to get for the last cycle? Well, the last cycle is ticking down 4 days and 13 hours and 42 minutes until cycle 8, the last weekly cycle. And of course, we're expecting some big things there. Will we get to 2 trillion, the magic 2 trillion? The rate's going to drop to 0.65. So one TitanX will equal 0.65 Inferno. And of course, at that time, the buy and burn's operating, right? So the buy and burn's operating. It starts, I think it's 4% between Sunday and Wednesday, and then it ramps up, I think, to 10 and 15%, something like that. So you can find that in the docs at the moment. Let's pull it up, actually, so instead of just trying to remember off the top of our head. Let's go to the buy and burn, see how accurate we were. Yeah, 4% Sunday to Wednesday. Yeah, got that right. 10% on Thursday, 15% on Friday, and 50% on Sunday. So the only thing I forgot to talk about was the 50% on the Saturday there. So yeah, pretty awesome, right? So that kind of ratchet up the ROI. So the ROI is going to be pretty cool. It's currently 4%, so it's tracking along pretty nicely. And it's going to be epic. And then after that, right? After that, the supply is going to be burned off, right? Burned off with the amount that's in the buy and burn. At the moment, we've got just under 1.8 trillion. We had 2 trillion and 50 billion sitting in there before, at the end of the Inferno, approximately. And it was probably slightly higher than that, actually, just a little bit. But there we are at just under 1.8 trillion TitanX in there sitting for the buy and burn. Isn't that awesome? Remember, it burns 48 different periods during the day. Exciting stuff to see that play out. Now, I know some people talk about the RPC and bots on that, but I haven't actually seen much evidence on that. That's kind of where we are at the moment. This is mega. What a huge flaming supply sink. I mean, it's just one of many projects, and that is a massive supply sink. So super awesome stuff. And in its own right, Inferno is going to be pretty exciting because the supply is going to be out. What will the final supply be? At the moment, we're sitting at about 2.7 trillion. What will the final one be by the time we get up? It's going to be, not very high. And of course, we're going to have that buy and burn, burning things away. So it's going to be pretty exciting. Now, if you got in early, of course, you would have had a better rate. So you're going to benefit from all the TitanX coming in after you. So that's true. but we're going to have the buy and burn coming in, and then other projects like Flux and that coming in as well. So you can see that down here on TitanX Hub. We're going to Flux, and I think there's another one. I think it's called Flea. I just can't remember exactly. So someone in the chat might know. So that is pretty exciting. Then, of course, we've got Legends, Titan Legends launching today. I think it's kind of launch day today. We're going to check that out in a minute. So we might have a quick look at that first. I'm a little bit out of order here. There's not the order I was going to be going through, but hey, it makes sense, this order. So here is Titan Legends. And of course, we're stoked to announce that we are doing a live stream walkthrough with Mike Dean. So that if you want to check that out, you can check that out on Titan Legends. And of course, let's scroll back up here. I actually haven't looked at this. I just pulled it up, but we're looking at it real time. Let's have a look here. This is going down in a few minutes. Mike Dean's live stream. So you can definitely check that out for information. They have another live stream with Vibra Finance, so that's on tonight. I don't believe that's been on yet, so that's another one that you can watch coming up. And yeah, there we go. So it's going to be launching without further ado. We read this 2 days ago, I think it was, as well. I'm pleased to announce that we released the second installment of Titan Legends Journey this Monday, September the 9th, in between the hours of 3 p.m. UTC and 5 p.m. UTC there. So that's going to be pretty awesome. Now, that would be US time, not New Zealand time, because we're already probably going through that, but that's pretty exciting to see. So this is huge. And this is really cool tech between NFTs and the TitanX Legend NFTs, a bit of supply in the marketplace, so people will be able to access it via the market rather than holding an NFT. But you know how that's going to go, right? Probably going to be pretty ramped up. Remember, the same founder of JKX Meme Coin is the founder of this, so it's going to be pretty big. Yeah, and a Legend token, a Legend X token will be launched, so I could do some pretty big X's there, and we're looking forward to see that. And then they've got this clever mechanism that if you claim your tokens, you basically stake your NFT in what they call a battlefield. If you decide to switch it out to tokens and you dump the tokens, then you get like the first day is a 53% burn penalty. So I think that's to stop people dumping the market, right? So, and of course, if you buy on the market, then you can go buy without these issues and go buy the NFT and vice versa. And so that helps to spur market demand. It's going to be interesting to see how this progresses, but you know, pretty exciting idea. All right, so that's Titan Legend. Now you can find all this stuff on TitanX Hub. So I'll just post this link rather than posting all the different sites. You can just go check all these on TitanX Hub if you're interested in any particular ones here. It's TitanX Hub right there, bam, by Mike Dean. All right, so that's pretty cool. Looking forward to that. We'll try and keep a tab on that. If you're in our strategy club, links in the video description to join up. We'll be posting all information as soon as we get it. So yeah, $35 a month to join that. And we look multi-chain opportunities. Obviously, TitanX Legends, TitanX is a huge part of that strategy club too. So get in there on that. All right, so that's kind of cool. Let's jump away. We're going to get into the next one, of course, is coming up is testnet for Ouroboros. Yeah, that is apparently going to testnet this week. So I've got that in there already. So that's already cool. And maybe we'll have it launching by the second half of September. That would be mega. You're talking about a US dollar stablecoin. You're talking about lending and all that sort of stuff, borrowing and lending, massive for the whole ecosystem of TitanX and all the projects, right? So we're keeping a little track on that at the moment on Ouroboros, and you can find Ouroboros at number 11 here. I don't know if they've got any update on the X account. Let's have a quick look. Third there, yeah, 8th there. So no, they haven't, but they've got a lot of information on the X profile on their X, yeah, on X. You can check it out for that. But they expect to go testnet this week. So that's still in play. Now, obviously, we're expecting Hydra Inferno Cycle 8 coming up on the 13th there. And, of course, that is counting down. I think we forgot to mention how close that is, but that is pretty close. Let's go have a look at that one more time before we get into Hydra. That is counting down. Yeah, 4 days and 13 hours to go. So Cycle 8, that's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Supply sync, man. Supply sync on TitanX. All right, so that's kind of cool. And then, of course, we've got talking about Hydra, right? So that's the main one coming up. Very excited about that. I've got it potentially launching for this week, and it seems like that's on track. You know, really, they were debating a little bit on the live stream about 8 hours ago whether they should have another audit, even though they've had multiple audits on the same code for the most part, say 90% of the code. They were still debating about that, but I think they'll probably end up just going with the launch, is my guess. Jake wants to get it out as soon as possible. And of course, I think it makes sense to launch this week. A very good timing. And of course, you guys know it's going to be before the Vortex on Hyper opens up with its ETH, which has been going up as well, right? So last time I checked, there's about 350 ETH in there. So that's going to be really, really cool. And so these all work together, right? So I think that's going to be pretty cool. Now you're going to need a TitanX for Hydra. And so I think it's a very good chance it will launch this week. Now, obviously, yesterday overnight, they hit 1,500 members in Telegram, and that's probably still climbing. They released the white paper once they did that, so that was pretty exciting. Yeah, so we'll probably post the link to that again in the chat, so hold on for that. Pretty awesome. So let's get into the Hydra burn, Hydra one there, and let's jump out of there. So they had a live stream, as I said, on a Hydra Whitepaper. This is with Jake Sharp. So if you want to watch that, I'm going to copy that into the chat. You can watch that after the live stream. So Hydra live stream with Jake and Eric. And yeah, there's different parts of that that live stream there. All right, so let's get into it. Bam. Hydra live stream with Jake. You can watch that later on. Do we get any more comments in the chat here? What else there? We will see a sell-off from Hyper into TitanX for Hydra short term, says Brennan. Here's a question. From Hyper into TitanX for the short term? Possibly, yeah. That may be true of any project with TitanX, TitanX Pulse. Cookies in the house. Woo! Good to see you, Cookies. And so many moving parts. This is so awesome, says Brennan. It is indeed. Just thoughts. There is a shadow protocol, and there is a developer of Ouroboros called Super Shadowy. Yeah, maybe. There's some partnerships going on there. Priority one. Craig Pittenhouse there. Morning all. Hey, Craig. Big shout out. Welcome to the chat. Yeah, so this is the live stream that was on. It's pretty good. Jake sort of joins the show a little way into it. Yeah, pretty nice there. There's also a build on TitanX episode 36 was on 8 hours ago, so you can go listen to that as well with more developers. Yeah, pretty cool Twitter space there. Mike Dean, Crypto Kindness is getting more involved, so more influencers coming on board the TitanX ecosystem. I think Jake reckoned there was about 20 or so, so it's pretty cool. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one doing dailies. Obviously, Mike Dean and Mo and others are doing interviews and stuff like that. But kind of moved into the daily space because it fits my format, right? That's the kind of format I like, doing the ecosystem. What else we got going there? Yeah, and TitanX Hope and Pray is replaced by Build to Make It Happen. I like that a lot. So kind of cool. Let's see what else we got there. Yeah, there's not much volume left to go, right? Not much volume. It's just about gone, Burger, and a deflation there. Now, we're going to talk about X28 later on, but yeah, it's pretty exciting where everything is heading here. Hydra Whitepaper. Let me scroll through some of that. This is all from Jake, of course. That's pretty much it from Jake. And of course, the link to that is here. So if you haven't, if you want the link to Hydra, to the docs, this is the one here. So Hydra Whitepaper. And bam, that is the link there to that if you want to read it in your own time, which I do strongly suggest you do. You're going to need TitanX to go into that. Unlike Hyper, which has Ethereum, TitanX and, of course, Hyper require Ethereum. Hydra requires TitanX. So there we go. That's the basic idea. Now, let's zoom in on this a bit bigger, make it a bit bigger. We've got what is Hydra? I'm going to read this whole front page because it's pretty good, actually. Welcome to Hydra. Hydra.win is a collaboration project between Jake Sharp, the founder of TitanX, and Eric, the founder of DragonX. Now, DragonX is pretty much like the giant whale inside, staking whale inside or on top of the TitanX, or in the ecosystem, depending on where you want to talk about it. The goal of the Hydra project is to take what Jake has learned building TitanX and Hyper. Remember, both TitanX and Hyper require Ethereum. Hyper is a leverage play on TitanX, right? Two decentralized mining protocols, improve upon these designs and utilize the unique token economics of the DragonX project for the benefit of the TitanX ecosystem. So it's a win for TitanX, it's a win for DragonX, and it's a win for Hydra, right? And they're all leverage on each other, right? So Hydra is a leverage on DragonX, DragonX is a leverage on TitanX. That's pretty much the way you can think about it. Hydra's design is improved over its predecessor in the following way. So it's very important to listen to this part. Hydra's LP, or liquidity pool, is paired with DragonX. So Hydra with a DragonX, okay? Imagine that being the top pair on top. of the top leverage there. This means it borrows the price appreciation of DragonX because the tokens are bonded together. So DragonX goes up, Hydra, all things equal, will go up, right? Subject to the ratio if it's got the same ratio. DragonX is a deflationary token with programmatic buy and burn. Tokens that are paired with it historically have done very well. Hydra Mining uses TitanX. Unlike Hyper and TitanX, which require Ethereum to start miners, Hydra uses TitanX. Because there is so much TitanX in circulation, and of course we know how much that is, it's a ton, so let's go have a look. Now, we know it's going to go into hyperdeflation soon, and these projects are all helping to make that happen. The current liquid supply at the moment is just below 60 trillion liquid at the moment, but of course we know there's not much left coming out, relatively speaking. We've still got some trillion candles, don't get me wrong, but if we look at the future roadmap, it is right here. And we don't have as much coming out anymore, right? So let's screen that out. Bam, bam. Let's go all the way down and have a look. So that is the left of what's left in the mining. At the moment, we've been going through these 7 days in a row of trillion plus candles, and we've already got rid of one of the 2 trillion candles. Today, we're starting a brand new one. We're starting this 2 trillion candle here. That means we only have one more of these 2 trillion candles. Tomorrow we've got 1.33, and then we drop off again. Before we get to the 15th September, we've got a 3.6 trillion candle, 2 trillion candle. That's the last of the 2 trillions. It's the last of the 3 trillions after that. And of course, then we drop right off again. Time we get to the 25th September, we then have the remaining trillion candles. We've got 5 in a row, and one of them, 1 or 2 of them are fairly decent, 1.6. And then after that, that's the end of September, right? So we've got 5 at the end of September. We're currently going around through the beginning. And then, of course, we get into October. We've only got 2 trillion candles left, and then no more. Say goodbye, because it just goes down really fast. So the supply of TitanX is out pretty much. Obviously, TitanX can start mining again if the price of TitanX goes up, and of course we're expecting that to happen. We're expecting TitanX to get profitable again, but of course the total amount that you're going to be mining is way lower, right? Way lower. Start off 8 million. I think it's about 2.5 million at the moment. Yeah, it means that, and that's going to be pushed out much further anyway, for the most part, until the yield gets up to the point where it makes short-term miners more profitable. So that's kind of the play there. So 60 trillion at the moment, plus what's coming out here. By the time we get to 5th of October, it's just downhill from there. And man, it's going to be a lot of fun before that, because we've got we've got the Inferno cycle 8 going to take off potentially 2 trillion. So it's going to negate quite a bit of these big trillion candles here. Then we're going to have the Hydra. It's going to take TitanX as well, potentially trillions upon trillions. It's going to be massive. And then, of course, all the other projects that are launching in September are super bullish. So you can see this TitanX is about to go hyper deflationary, and it's going to be a lot of fun. You guys are still here just in time to get into the lowest level entry at the moment. And of course, you saw that rebound yesterday in the chart. So after having a bit of a 35% dip on some of the assets, so pretty awesome there. All right, so that is giving you a context of the inflation. So Hydra Mining uses TitanX, using Hyper and TitanX, which require ETH to start miners. Hydra uses TitanX because there's so much TitanX in circulation, as we just pointed out. Users can participate without selling TitanX down to Ethereum, right? So this will enhance participation. So this is something that people wanted with Hyper, just being able to use their TitanX in circulation. And of course, now they can do it with Hydra. Hydra uses the DragonX Volts. All right, so the DragonX Vault is very important. So let's pull up the DragonX Volts as we go, kind of trying to go along with this as a shared journey about what this means. So this is the DragonX Vault here, talking about here, this thing here, right? So if you go over the question mark, it says here on DragonX website, the amount of TitanX in the vault waiting to be staked. All right, so it's going to go and stake the TitanX, and you know what happens when you stake? It goes off forever, right? It gets pushed out forever. So it's pretty much effectively kind of burned from that point of view. So there we go. So that is pretty much that on there. Let me jump back to the where's the explanation here. Possibly the most distinct and important element to Hydra is its mechanism for burning a TitanX. Rather than using a standard burn by sending tokens to the dead address, Hydra sends it to its burned TitanX to the DragonX vault, increasing the DragonX share of the TitanX Ethereum payouts, right? So that's huge, right? So it goes in here, gets staked. At the moment, you can see 9 trillion TitanX has been staked through here, almost $6 million. And that's really powerful, right? So it makes it a huge player. And of course, you know it's going to get part of the payouts coming up on day 369. So if you hear people talking about day 369, it's talking about this payout here. There's 2,500 Ethereum going to TitanX stakers, and it's currently worth almost $5.8 million. And of course, that will move up and down with the ETH price, right? So if ETH price doubles, that will go to $11-12 million. That's how pretty much how it works there. So a huge payout coming up, and that is only not far away, right? It's like 51 days, I think it is, away. So getting very close for that countdown. A mega event in the TitanX. Now, I'm suspecting that the DragonX whale won't be the only one reinvesting into the ecosystem. So unlike what we saw back in end of December, January this year, I think we're going to see a lot of reinvestment into the system. So that's going to be something I think is going to be a different feature of the 369 staker payout. All right. In any case, the DragonX is forced to stake, and the more TitanX has got to stake, the more of the reward pool gets. So let's go bring up TitanX Watch and see how much they're actually going to get out of that, because it's pretty important. Let's go to DragonX here on TitanX Watch. So this is TitanX.watch, and we can go and have a look at DragonX. So out of that money, what do we say? How much did we say it was? 5,756,000. DragonX is currently getting $2 million of that, 877 ETH worth, and that's going to go and buy TitanX and stake it. Yeah, baby. So it's going to get rid of that 60 trillion supply we're talking about and some of the future supply here, right? So bullish. I mean, everything's contributing majorly, right? Now, obviously, that's going to be huge, but nevertheless, Hydra itself is going to contribute even more, right? Because it's going to be putting a percentage, we'll talk about that in a minute, into doing that, into buying TitanX and staking it. So yeah, but rather than using a standard burn to send tokens to the dead address, Hydra sends its burn TitanX to the DragonX Vault, increasing the DragonX share of the TitanX Ethereum payouts. And we just see how big they are. 2 million now. What will they be by the time we get to the 369 payout? Will it be 2.5 million? Who knows? Or at least will be a lot more ETH. 877 ETH now. Will it be 950, 1,000? We should see. And there's 2,500 ETH in there at the moment. And that actually might get bigger, right? Because if we get profitable by October in the miner, so if this miner here goes profitable, currently it's negative 41%. I think yesterday it was like negative 36 or 38. If we get that positive again by October, we could have people mining back through here again, and that would fill up the payouts even more. It would also fill up, obviously, the buy and burns as well in V2 as well, which is currently burning TitanX. So, man, this thing's going to be legit. That's what we can say. You're going to find more influencers, more people in the community laughing like I just did. All right, so kind of cool. That's where we're at the moment. So Hydra burns DragonX directly also. So DragonX is going to be burned off as well. So not only is TitanX going to be put into staking to increase the ETH payout for DragonX as the super whale, but also it's going to also burn DragonX as well, the supply of DragonX, making DragonX incredibly more valuable than it already is. The Hydra protocol sets aside a percentage of the TitanX used to start miners and allocates this TitanX to burn DragonX off the market. The reduced supply of DragonX forever. It also makes the DragonX Ethereum-based buy and burn more effective. All right, so that's really cool. Hydra favors short-term compounding cycles. So if you're thinking about your strategies, how you want to get more TitanX or more DragonX or anything like that, then yeah, that's pretty much the way to go. So Hydra favors short-term compounding cycles, unlike Hyper and TitanX, which gave bonuses to early adopters. Hydra favors users that compound their proceeds over time. This leaves more for new entrants and boosts their miner profitability. So if you're after more Hydra, compounding is the way to go. And you're also going to benefit TitanX and DragonX, right? So as you do, so that's the way to go. So that is kind of that on that. Now we're going to quickly go to mining. Before we do that, though, let's see if we've got any comments on the chat there. We've got Archie in the house. Hey, Archie, good to see you. Sorry, I missed the meeting today. I was at the shops and I had remembered in the morning and then forgot about it. My bad on that one. It's the first one I've missed, though. Let's be fair. At least it's not the end of the world. Although can't take away from my apology. If you're going to have an apology, you can't have all the caveats, right? And even if there is more TitanX mining, there is Hyper and Hydra buying and burning at TitanX. Absolutely. Priority one's as excited as me, or maybe more excited. Will the Hydra Vortex be deployed day one, burning 8% TitanX and 12% DragonX, and again 88 days later? All right, we'll get into all that. So let's go into Hydra Mining. You create your own coins with your own private keys through your own effort via virtual mining. We believe in humans' freedom to transact. So really, you're doing it on your own, right? You're interacting with the contract yourself. So remember, this is kind of like Hyper, but it's got a few tweaks to it. So that's pretty much it. Now, in terms of mining, you'll be able to pick the number of days that you want to mine for, and of course the number of power you want your miner to have in terms of how much Hydra it's going to earn. So the number of days you pick from 1 day to up to 88 days, it's the same as we see with Hyper, and the power you choose determine the amount of Hydra that you get in your miner, right? So those two variables determine how much Hydra you're going to get. So yeah, pretty cool. So that's the mining formula there. It goes up to 10,000. Now, normally 100 power in Hyper is 0.2 ETH. So remember that. So obviously, the longer you do. So number of days chosen when starting the miner, the amount of Hyper per day you can get. This goes down every day. Remember that. So earlier pays better because it goes down every day. The power you specify during your miner creation. So that's kind of it with the formula. Scroll down through that. Now you can create miners in two ways. You can have single miners, right? This will create a normal single miner, or you can use a mining ladder. This will create a mining ladder for you using the contracts. So you can have multiple, set up multiple at one time, and that's normally pretty popular, right, to do. Mining power explains. So the mining power determines how much Hydra you get per day in your miner, and also determines how much TitanX your miner costs. All right. So that's another thing there. Now I'm not sure we know what the cost of TitanX is. I haven't seen even Jake talk about that, if I remember rightly, during the live stream. So will it be equivalent, some sort of equivalence to 0.2 ETH for 100 power in terms of TitanX? We will see. So let me know in the chat if anyone else has seen that. I have not heard that from anyone, either Eric or Jake. So yeah, let me know on that one. But that's my it's got to probably be something around similar equivalence to what is going through Hyper, for example. All of these are cleanly displayed on the app, and of course that's going to be the app there. I can't get access to it at the moment, so they've got a password on it, sneaky little password. So that's kind of cool on that. What else? Now, obviously, when you start miners, there will be penalties at whatever end date you specify. So after that day, you have a 7-day grace period in which you can claim your miners and not receive any penalties. Then after that 7-day grace period, you enter penalty zone, which looks like this. So day 1, you lose 1% of your claimable Hydra. Day 2, 3%. Day 3, 8%. Day 4, 17%. Day 5, 35%, etc. All the way to day 7, you lose 99%. So what I suggest, you've got a 7-day window, is that whenever you make miners, put it into a calendar, right? That has a notification bell. And then if you're doing a ladder, you can have them all in your calendar and then penalize. A lot of people are losing their TitanX or Hyper or DragonX or whatever. They're losing that. Not Dragon. They're losing that because they don't put calendar in place and have a notification, and so they forget about it and get massively penalized or lose it altogether, right? So you don't want to be that guy or girl. So there we go. So that's pretty much it. The distribution. This is what a lot of people have been really keen to do, is to find out what this is. Now, obviously, we had a few teasers already, but basically, step 1, a TitanX distribution. 20% of the TitanX gets sent to. So when you go mining, you're going to put in TitanX. So TitanX, 20% of that TitanX gets sent directly to the DragonX Vault. And of course, we show the DragonX Vault is here. That's this thing here. And that's basically going to stake that right off the market and increase the power of the DragonX whale to get more of that juicy payout, which, as you guys know, is looking pretty good. Total payout is just under 5.8 million, and of course, it's getting 2 million at the moment. So that's going to go up probably relative to everybody else, right? Because it has to stake. It has to stake there. Now we know other projects are also going to be filling up the vault, right? There are probably half a dozen at the moment that are going to be filling this vault up. Some of them have 4%, stuff like that. But in Hydra, it's going to be 20%. So it's a major contributor to DragonX getting bigger and bigger. Now, 80% of the TitanX buys, the other 80% of TitanX buys DragonX via the TitanX Dragon LP on a Uniswap V3. So the other 80% is going there. Then we go to step 2, from the DragonX board off the market. So from this 80%, 20% of the DragonX board gets burned forever. So it's going to buy DragonX and burn it forever. So straight burn there. So kind of cool. So what is it we get? We've got 20% going to make DragonX a bigger whale in the system and get bigger staker payouts. And then number 2, we've got 20% of the DragonX supply being taken off the market as well. So the intrinsic value of the staking goes up. The amount of tokens available for ownership of that intrinsic value goes down. And so it makes it more valuable DragonX as a super whale in the system. The remaining 80% of that 80%, so that would be 64%, all up in absolute terms, 80% of the DragonX board gets used to buy and burn Hydra from the DragonX Hydra LP on Uniswap. That'd be a new LP pool, right? And of course, 100% of the Hydra bought with DragonX is burn, baby, burn. So it's going to be a beautiful burn there. It'll be equivalent to about 64% of the TitanX that goes in the system is going to buy and burn Hydra and to make Hydra that that pinnacle store of value above DragonX. Can you believe it? So pretty awesome. This creates a deflation effect on both TitanX. 20% gets staked and restaked forever in the DragonX Vault, and DragonX burning 20% of the DragonX bought off the market. So mega powerful here for the ecosystem. How much TitanX we're going to get in here from people? Well, it could be 10 trillion. It could be huge amounts. I think the first week of Hyper was something like 10 million. So what could this do? It's going to be massive, massive, massive. That's why you could see some pretty awesome stuff happening in the chart. And don't forget, we've got Inferno out there at the moment. We've got Titan Legends with the Legend X token and all that sort of stuff happening in the next in the day ahead of us, I should say. So pretty exciting stuff happening there. Let's see if we've got any comments on that before we get to the daily update. We got Archie says all good. I missed it too, says Archie. That's all right. We both missed our own meeting. We got Archie says I did buy more TitanX though. Nice, smart money there, Archie. Smart money. Wiki says yes. What else we got going there? Sorry, they're talking about rugby league, I think. All right, so let's get into the Hydra daily updates. So yeah, for Hydra update there, for every new day that ticks over in the contract, these variables get updated. Hydra mining per day of mining goes down 0.028%. Now you guys know in Hyper that's 0.08%. So this is a flatter, softer curve. Means pretty much that more and more people can get in at later on and still get a really great rate. So this is a much slower move in the decrease of Hydra mineable. So it gives you a bit of time to get in, right? So if you're worried about contract risk with any new contract, you can just watch it for a day, 2, see how it goes. Now, obviously, if you get in straight away, you've got first mover advantage with supply, future supply, depending on when it's coming out. But you also get the best rate, right, going in day 1. Yeah, so there we go. There's a bit of pros and cons to that. TitanX amount required per miner power does not change, as TitanX itself is a highly volatile. Then we get to the Hydra Vortex. Now, everyone loves the Hyper Vortex, and the Hyper Vortex is looking spectacular. So let's go look at the Hyper Vortex before we get into the that one. So we're going to go to the buy and burn, and yeah, we're going to have the Vortex as well. Instead of Ethereum, it's going to be TitanX, and instead of TitanX, it's going to be DragonX. So it's going to be pretty epic. Let's see here. Let's go back. Go back to Hydra. Yeah, so 8% of all the TitanX used to start Hydra miners also get stored inside of the Vortex, and 10% of all the DragonX bought with TitanX via the TitanX DragonX pool get stored inside the Vortex as well. So that's what it's going to look like with the Hyper one, but with obviously TitanX and DragonX instead. Now, on the live stream earlier today from Jake and the crew, Jake talked about them actually wanting to increase this. So it looks like this will probably end up being 10% of all TitanX used to start Hydra miners. So they may change the percentages a little bit there. So we're going to see how that plays out. So this is may not be the final numbers that we're walking through with the white paper, maybe slightly changed by the time they go to launch it. 10% of, and this is going to be potentially 18%, so that would change some of the metrics that we've been talking about in the distribution and the Vortex, right? So just take that into note. That may not be the final numbers by the time we get there. 10% of all the DragonX bought with TitanX via TitanX DragonX pool gets stored inside the Vortex. All right, so that is in play. Now we've seen how successful that has been for Hyper, because at first we saw the TitanX Vortex balance that got drawn on day 98 after all the miners. Remember, max mining is 88 days, and then we had the 96 days, and it helped a lot, right, with keeping the project tipping along there. Even though Hyper, probably had a good 10 days, 15 days of ETH coming in there, if I remember rightly, which was about 3,000 ETH or something. So that we had a pickup on ETH, of course, in Hyper in mid-July, and it's been on a tear since then. So we can see that that's pretty much where that's at. The DragonX and the Vortex 100% is used to buy and burn Hydra. All right, so that's going to be used to buy and burn. So not only do we have all that other buy and burn, we're going to have this buy and burn burning Hydra as well. Gets released every 98 days. 8%, the TitanX and the Vortex 100% is used to buy back DragonX via the TitanX DragonX, and then buy and burn Hydra with the DragonX that just bought. So two super bullish things. One is going to obviously be another buy source for TitanX, just like we've got the Hyper one coming out on the 19th. So this one here on Hyper is going to be activated on the 19th. It's going to go buy TitanX, so another TitanX buyer. You see what I mean? They've got all these mechanisms all over the place, starting to either take TitanX out of the market, burning it, or using it into LPs, or just buying it and burning it, right? So it is pretty crazy. And of course, the Vortex is opening up soon. That's going to be fun to see that with the Ethereum is going to go buy TitanX. And of course, we're going to have something similar on the Vortex, but it's going to be TitanX buying Hydra there as well. So kind of cool. It's used to start Hydra miners, I should say, too. Also stored inside the Vortex. So kind of cool. 10% of the DragonX bought through the TitanX. So hyper bullish is coming up there. This will probably be the first one that gets triggered. All right. Yeah, day 98 and 196 would be the second one. So, all right. Let me see here. What else? Got proof of burn. Now it's got the proof of burn just like in the other projects, so we're not going to go through that. And early claim. Actually, what's this have on there? Yeah, there's no Genesis wallet on this. That's probably a key difference as well. Just let me look somewhere here. Now, projects can build on top of Hydra. Imagine seeing that. That'd be crazy, right? And of course, builder reward there. And we'll probably see builders on builders, right? Layer 4s. If Hydra's a layer 3, then we'll probably see a layer 4, right? Building on top of Hydra. Earn claim miners. And of course, we've got these other protocols coming out, right? Like E28, Ouroboros. They're going to be multiple projects being able to access those. So as the ecosystem grows, more and more projects could get access to lending and other things like that. So yeah, early claim miners, you can obviously have early claim. You can end a miner as soon as a minimum of 3 days. I think it's 5 days, is it, for Hyper? I think it's 5 days. 3 days. And let's actually go to the docs here because I can't remember. Was that 5 days? I think it's 5 days for Hyper. Let me have a quick look. Early claim miners. Oh no, it's 3 days as well. So both of them are 3 days. And you can do that on early claim. I wonder what I thought 5 days must have been something that I read. Anyway, we got you end the miner before maturity. It's got all those features there. It auto calculates it for you anyway, but you can read that part of it. There's going to be no staking. So unlike Hyper, no staking, so no payouts. So all the full rewards go to the miners and the rest of the allocation for helping the ecosystem. So it's bullish for ROI returns, right? And of course, compounding is the name of the game. Now, audits and contracts, they've obviously had multiple audits. 90% of the code's been audited over multiple times. They got one of the best auditors in the world working on it, but they're going to post that here. They were thinking about, getting an audit, potentially a second audit on the 10% that they've changed around, but I think they're probably just going to go for it because I know Jake wants to get launched as live as possible. And that's pretty much it at the moment. The website itself is not live yet. As you can see, it needs a password to get into it, but that will be coming, and I suspect it will be this week. That's my feeling based on how bullish they were talking on the live stream today. Like I said, Jake was pretty keen to get it imminently out there. So yeah, pretty reasonable to expect that out today on the old Hydra there. And we'll see what the mining equivalence is when the website comes out. So I'm not sure that I don't think I recall him saying anything in the live stream about that. What else there? Let's see here. We've got Eden House. I don't understand now. If I have come to Hydra to mine $10 million worth of TitanX, that means that will buy 10 to 8% of TitanX, meaning 9.2 million buy DragonX from the markets. I don't understand now. If we come to Hydra to mine $10 million worth of TitanX, that means that buy 10 million negative 8% on TitanX. Yeah, I'm not quite sure of your question. Maybe you could rephrase your question a little bit there. All the value of TitanX that goes into it's going to get split up. 20% is going to go to DragonX. It's going to then stake that. So that's going to reduce the supply of TitanX. 20% is going to buy DragonX, and it's going to burn that. So 5.4 trillion DragonX. That's going to reduce pretty fast. we're expecting maybe $10 million or so could go through into the system altogether. So it's going to be a lot of money, a lot of TitanX, and that's going to disappear. So the whole system's going to ramp up pretty fast. I think he's asking about the Eric 8% fee. I don't believe there's any fee in DragonX there. Sorry, are you talking about DragonX? Talking about the Genesis wallet, or buy 8% stay in TitanX, meaning 9.2 million DragonX remote? Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Yeah, Hydra's got no 8% fee from what I can see there. Volt is building on Hydra, I think. Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. In the Vault on DragonX. Oh yes, that's correct. Yeah, Genesis wallet there. Yeah, that has a Genesis wallet, and so does TitanX with the 8%. But Hydra doesn't have one. That's from what I can see there. All right, so that's coming out. So those are all happening right now. So what a bullish week ahead. Oroboro is going to testing. That's the lending and stablecoin, borrowing, lending, and stablecoin. So that's going to be pretty exciting. Potentially launching second half of September. Then of course we've got the Vortex opening up. That's a third buy and burn. Well, arguably Hydra is a buy and burn, right? So in many ways, but it's really a buy and stake. Gets rid of it. And then we got the buy and burn on Vortex opening up, which is going to be pretty exciting. We've also got Hyper Day 96 payout. At the moment, that Hyper payout is sitting at 70, just at 70 billion Hyper. So there's not a lot of Hyper out at the moment, like in terms of miners, but in short term, at least for another probably 25, 30 days. But there is this payout cycle here. And then eventually we've got another candle with 92 or so billion coming out in about 25, 30 days, somewhere in there. Can't remember the exact date, but that's coming as well. Apart from that, the supply of Hyper is pretty rare, just over 1.1 trillion. So at the moment, still pretty low compared to DragonX at 5.4, and of course 60 trillion on TitanX for the moment. But that's all about to change, I think, in the next week or two. All right, what else we got there? I think we're going to go forward. Yeah, Flux, like we say, Flux is going to build on top of DragonX. So Flux is coming up there. At the moment, it's under audits, but that could launch anywhere between September and the second half of September, really. Pulsar, we may have news about that too. I know that was expected to launch in September, so we might have that at the end of September. I know Jake was going to mention something about Pulsar, but didn't in the live stream today. And then we also got the Vault, right? So that looks like it's possibly going to build on top of Hydra as well, and on the old Vault there, so that could be pretty bullish. In fact, let's have a quick look at those on the white papers. I think we've got that, yeah. So let's go have a look at the distributions, because that's the key stuff you want to look at, right? Token distribution. What they got there? They've got daily Vaults auctions on TitanX, buy and burn 8%. 4% is going to be sent to the DragonX Vault, so DragonX gets even better. So it's going to have 20% from 20% for the staking vault, and then it's going to burn 20% of DragonX. Well, here we're going to have 4%, so 20% from Hydra and 4% here from Vaults. Kind of cool. And then the Vault wheel's coming up a bit later. That's that one. What else we got going here? We're talking Pulsar Flux. We'll have a quick look at Flux over here. Flux on the white paper. Let's look at the distribution as well. And that's going to be feeding the Titan. So TitanX Inferno, 17% is going to TitanX Inferno. So that's why I said Inferno is actually looking, going to get this as well. Not just DragonX getting all the love and treatment. Obviously TitanX wins all the way, but also Inferno is going to get a lot of love treatment as well. And we're going to have a pretty low supply, I would say, even with 2 trillion TitanX expected potentially, if I get it right for a second week in a row, going in there as well. In fact, yeah, that is going pretty well. So let's find this here. So 70% is going to TitanX Inferno. That's going to be bullish. Now, Titan Inferno is going to be doing really well next week, particularly. You watch this thing's going to be running like this weekend coming up. Probably actually, what day? How many days is it? Yeah, probably this weekend coming up. Inferno could be going through the roof, especially with Flux coming along as well in the second half of September. 28% buy and burn on Flux itself. 40% to the reward pool. 4% is going to the DragonX Vault as well. So another 4%. So DragonX is much loved. And of course, 2% TitanX sent to the Helios Treasury. So Helios getting a bit of love as well. And of course, 8% to Genesis Wallet. There are no expectations on that one. All right. What else? That is that on there.
So some really exciting stuff happening with some of these. Now, Element 280, we haven't really talked about that, but that is looking pretty cool as well. And there's going to be multiple tokens, right? So look at all the projects here, and some of them we haven't even got on the TitanX sublist. So yeah, really bullish with all these projects are going to benefit from, right? It's another NFT project like Titan Legends, but with quite a different feel to it. Yeah, Element is an ERC20 token bonded to TitanX Ecosystem through LPs, being bonded to the ecosystem there. So it's going to be pretty fun to see this played as well. TitanX Distribution, let's look at that. So yeah, TitanX from minting E280 NFTs are distributed as follows. First 200 billion TitanX used to create LPs. After that, 100% goes to buy ecosystem tokens, all right? So TitanX is going to go buy all these different projects. And I love the way they did it on the periodic table. Isn't that kind of cool? That was really neat on that. You can see that. It's got all the projects in here. That is really neat. A really good idea. Fun idea. And it's a bit like an index, I would say. But like a ETF or an index way of getting into everything on the old TitanX ecosystem. So we're looking forward to it. And you can see some of the big names in there. Hyper, of course, TitanX, Helios, DragonX, Hydra, Blaze, Inferno, all going to get some love. And even Flux and Volts and others. So, you know, they're all on the list here. Even Legend X, which is going to be launching today. So kind of cool. What else we can say about that? So that is pretty much everything coming up in September. And then we're going to have a very bullish time, obviously, through, I think we've got Element 280. I've got that currently penciled in for October. Viper, which is stage 2 of Vault in October. Vault there being in stage in September. X28. Now, I had X28 question mark in October, but I'm going to move X28 because Jake there was talking about the fact that he was pretty happy with Hydra making DragonX a bigger whale in the system. And he was talking about getting it out during the end of pretty much the end of inflation. So that would actually push it out. So if we push out TitanX and we've got the limb here, now he could do it anytime. I don't think he's going to necessarily do it at the end of November. I mean, he could, but I'm going to switch it into probably I don't know, a really tough one, but maybe the end of November rather than October. So that's kind of where I'm going to move it. Now, it's an estimate, of course, but I'm really going to move this. I really did think that he might have that going in there, but, you know, it kind of makes sense to delay it in some ways as well. Obviously, giving Hydra a 60-day window or 50-day window. And so maybe X28 is out here. And that means Shadow Protocol. When's that coming then? I don't know if anyone's got an opinion on that, but I have it currently in November. And so, yeah, we've got Titan Game in November. That's stage 3. Right, of Viper and Volt, but then maybe Shadow Protocol is going to move even further out. I don't know. It's a tough one. Maybe it's going to move out here. What have we got there on the 1st? Yeah, maybe I'll put Shadow Protocol out here in December for the time being. But X28, yeah, X28 is going to be pretty awesome, right? So we found a lot of details about X28 from Jake on the live stream. Obviously, multi-chain there. It's going to have that utility token, and of course it's going to be able to go on other chains, but it's going to benefit just Ethereum. That's kind of the basic idea. We'll probably talk more about that on another live stream, but that was a pretty cool teaser there. X28 going to be potentially the second biggest burner. Maybe Hydra and Hyper and things like that is down number 2, but X28 looks like it's going to probably be the second biggest burner. Multi-chain, it's going to open up things really big, and of course that means TitanX number 1 burner as well. Now we know what the burners are because we can go to I don't know if I've got it on this site here. No, we can go to TitanX, and I think it's on the buy and burn page. Is it? No, it's not. It's on the stats page, and we can see the biggest projects burning at the moment on TitanX. So we've got DragonX at number 1 at the moment, 81 trillion burned. What's 81 trillion? That can't be right. Is that right? 81? No. Total 9 trillion. What does that burn? 81. Staked. I say staked, yeah. 9 trillion staked. Yeah, that'd be right. And a little bit of burned. 81 billion burned. Hyper at number 2 at 5.9 trillion burned. And so he's expecting X28 to and Hydra to both, or X28, sorry, to jump in here, and potentially Hydra as well. So, and then you got Hyper as well, and then Inferno at the moment. So Inferno is going to keep going up, right, with the buy and burn. And then we've got Helios there as well. At 427 billion. So it's going to be some pretty crazy stuff at the moment. 6.88 trillion in there at the moment. 9.79 trillion on this and 21 trillion overall. All right, so at the moment we've got 65.7 trillion burned through TitanX on this one. All right, let's jump through some of those. So that is pretty much that for that. Now I wanted to quickly talk about the 369 because 369 is coming, right? And it is currently only, let me just scroll this and make this a bit smaller. 369 is currently 52 days away, and it's going to be 51 days soon. So 52 days counting down to the 369 payout. That is mega. You can see it out here by itself. So we're pretty excited about the Vortex, and we're pretty excited about the TitanX 369 payout. And the DragonX buy and stake, right? So that's going to be getting even bigger because of Hydra is getting 20% of the TitanX going into it. So it's going to be massive on that. So very excited to see where that is at the moment. All right, so much more. And there's so many other projects not on here, of course. I think I've got most of the ones that are linked on here at the moment. But we've got more projects not even on this list that are coming. I think one of them was Flare. I'm pretty sure it was Flare. Flux and Flare. I think it was that one. I have to double check that though. All right, so that is pretty much that. Yeah, we're about to go hyper deflationary. Things are getting exciting. And at the moment, you know, the markets, you know, we've had quite a bit of rebound there. It looks like DragonX has taken over the #1 spot for 24 hours, up 17%. DragonX up 14%. TitanX, they're up 5.5%. It looks like they've shaded off a little bit in the last 6 hours of some of that rebound that they had. Hyper there up 4.8% and Inferno up 4%, so not bad. Now I wanted to quickly touch on Inferno because Inferno is, like I say, with, you know, Flux in that and the end of cycle 8 coming up in about 5 days or so, that this thing is probably going to really fly. You know, it's going to have a low inflation, a lot of that, you know, trillions of TitanX to go and buy and burn it. And then second layer, you know, third layer protocols on top of it. I think it's really going to be pretty exciting to see this go as well. And the market cap only 2.6 million, so watch out for that. It could be huge. Let's see what people are saying in the chat there. Priority 1 says Pulsar first hint will be the audits done on their website. Absolutely. Element 280 needs to have a Vault, Flux, Viper, and Legends to release, so to utilize them 100%. Also, Element 280 is NFTs. Do we know of NFT market for TitanX Legend? That's right. He's linking them up for you there. Titan Legends. Going to be multiple projects as well on there with NFTs. This one starting with DragonX. All right. If you don't know, DragonX got an OTC NFT that you can exit via that or purchase, as Eric was trying to do. All right. So we're up to now on 7 there. We're going to get into our final topic. Let's go to Zen. Now, what with Zen, we have, you know, it's really starting to ramp up for this X1 chain, right? X1 chain is going to have be the first fork of Solana. It's going to have all the latest and greatest tokenomics and bells and whistles technology-wise. It's going to be pretty huge. 100,000 transactions per second currently. So we're going to be looking forward to that. Obviously, people can buy Zen on 13 different chains to participate. People can mine Zen blocks. People can also mine Solana. I think it's not finished yet. So there's different ways. Obviously, there's other tokens as well. BRC20s like vampire tokens, stuff like that, all going to be involved in the tokenomics and allocation of XN, which is the main coin for the X1 chain. So pretty cool. We're also going to have other coins, of course, Xenium, XNM. So it's going to have XUni blocks for the DEX. So there's going to be multiple token system and as well as super blocks, which may be a multiplier or something like that for staking. We shall see. In any case, Jack Levin's been teasing that it's getting closer. He's been doing the wallet side of things, and the wallet was kind of the last that wallet and tokenomics and allocation were the last things. He said the X1 chain is basically ready to launch. He's obviously been doing legal work and talking to partners and VCs and Silicon Valley and stuff like that. So who knows what he's got up his sleeve for that. Yeah, here we are getting closer and closer. Will he launch maybe October, something like that? It's possible. A good time in my view. So let's see where this all heads. So yeah, he's been pretty exciting, posting out bullish stuff here. If you know, you know. You don't get much more exciting than that. Obviously, Zen pumped, and he goes, if you know, you know. And of course, he's got the Zen there, number 3 there on top tokens. And of course, let's see if he got many comments on that. Zen is everywhere. 14 chains, yeah, Zen plus Bitcoin. So kind of cool. going to have a Bitcoin bridge too, right, to EVMs. Yeah, Mackenzie says, I think I know. Now, Mackenzie's into TitanX. He thinks he knows as well. So kind of cool. So everyone's getting pretty excited about that. And we also had watch block production live on the X1 testnet there. What else? Not really surprised the team is shipping. So there we are. Zen pumped 65%. And he goes, not really surprised the team is shipping. In other words, they're ramping up stuff. And of course, they've got the Zen block stocks there, which are pretty cool. And so things are getting pretty close for that final launch. Getting pretty excited about that. In fact, he just posted this just now, an hour ago. So yeah, kind of cool. Getting excited, and the price has started to pump, right? So this is the Zen price here, yeah, had a really nice rally. Let's see how big the rally was on Zen. So the time to pick up accumulate Zen looks like it started. Now it's going to obviously go ebbs and flows, but it did an 88% pump inside 4 days. Currently it's still up at 63% at the moment, at 1139 or 1137 as it were. Kind of cool. Now this is on the shorter time frames, the short-term 9-day average is past the 33-day average, and so that's got a bullish cross on there. I've got that on this chart, but that's definitely cross bullish. And here is the 200-day and the 50-day, and the 50-day started to turn up here. Kind of cool. Now let's have a look on the weekly, and let's see where we go. So I think if we break 1400 here, if we break maybe 1400, break this level, then it could rally, and it could hyper rally to over 4,000. So it could hyper rally all the way up to here, up to this level. So we'll be looking out for that. The more teasers that come out, I'm sure it will get there. Let's go to the weekly though on the old Zen and see the whole chart. Obviously, it's got the forever down chart, and everyone loves those. But this is not like, you know, if it's got an X1 chain coming, you've got it's not like the others, right? Not like the others where they go down, but they don't have anything else to pull them back up. So there we go. Virtually most of the inflation is out for the time being. Now there are Zen NFTs coming out through next year and all that. The Gwei has been really low and people have been minting them out. But based on Zen Turbo, the last big month was September for a lot of the batch mints and Zen NFTs. So it looks like, you know, we've probably got a lot of the inflation coming out September, just like we do in TitanX to some degree. So that's going to help potentially for the pump as well. So you want to buy low, and it's pretty low. You know, who knows what it could do. A couple of 10Xs at least. Pricing in X1, we shall see. The market will decide ultimately. But definitely some upside there. Maybe the time is turning for that with X1 potentially very, very close. All right, so that is pretty much it for that. How we do? An hour and 12 minutes, pretty good timing. You know, I don't like to max out maybe an hour and 15 minutes. Let's see here. Priority One says Jack and Eric are planning to meet in Singapore. Well, that'd be fun. Hopefully they meet on that hotel, you know, the hotel with the pool at the top, the infinity pool. That's pretty cool. I think it's really cool, but I don't know if I could actually go up there because, you know, scared heights and all. Right, so yeah, that's the big news, and obviously we've got, you know, as Priority One pointed out, you know, we've got Titan Legends and the Legend X token launching within the next 24 hours. It's got a time frame. What did we say it was? 3 to 5 UTC on Monday, so that's got to be coming up. Let's see what the UTC time is at the moment. UTC. Now, you may be an opportunity to speculate on that, pick up the token, all that sort of stuff. So could do that. Let's see what time it is. We're currently 1 o'clock UTC now on Monday. So you've probably got an hour and 45 minutes where the window starts opening up for the Legend X. But what I would strongly suggest is that you follow them on X and get into Telegram if you're wanting to buy the Legend X token early and try and get some of that big upside. Very important to do that. So big shout out. That's about an hour and 45 minutes. That window is going to be open for 2 hours. So, you know, it's a bit of time there. Just take that into account. What else? Without further ado, we are pleased to announce that we will release the second installment of Titan Legends Journey this Monday, September the 9th, in between 3 p.m. It's 3 p.m. in UTC. My bad. Sorry, that's not. I got that. I thought it was 3 a.m. 3 p.m. UTC and 5 p.m. So that's still quite a while ago. It's only 1:13 in the morning. So that means that if it's 3 p.m., you've still got 14 hours to go until that window's open up. So my bad on that. Thanks very much, Priority One, for cleaning that up. So it's 14 hours to go until that potential launch, and you could pick up the token quite cheap, right? So that's the idea, and you potentially could speculate or buy the NFTs, you know, Titan Legend NFTs, something like that. All right, I think that's about it. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Don't forget, if you want to find out more details, get into our strategy club. The link's in the video description. $35 per month, multi-chain opportunities, really good value. We're pumping intel into that into strategy club daily, multiple times a day, so you get a good access to a lot of core information and talk strategy and stuff like that. So you can join up today. All right, take care, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again tomorrow for our normal show format, which now also includes TitanX and Ecosystem. So kind of cool. Bye for now.